Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to another Nerd Nation stream. We're talking Discovery, Season 3, Episode 9. And with me is my usual co-host, Cousin Cheeto. How you doing, my son?
What's up, y'all?
I'm going to go with the old crooner style because it's quite late here in England, and I don't want to be talking too loud, waking up my neighbours who are just over there. Okay. So, before we started this stream, I told my friend Roberto this is going to be a very interesting show to talk about. And he said to me, well, why is that? Well, because the reason being is that this show kind of gave us something I think none of us expected to happen. And that's what made it so interesting. And credit to the people who made the trailers to not give anything away regarding what this show ended up being, this episode ended up being. So, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Let's start talking about it. So it begins with Culber and Cronenberg, David Cronenberg's character, giving us some expedition on time travel and how it has an effect on our beings. We see an image of a time traveling soldier from the past wearing the old TNG first season 1, season 2 outfit. And this person was explained by Cronenberg to have suffered some sort of time travel paralysis and problems with his body, but he kept time traveling all the time. So if you keep time traveling, you're going to get fucked up. Now, Philippa Georgiou, is from a parallel universe. So coming into our universe and then time traveling at almost 1,000 years into the future has fucked her up in a big way. So Cronenberg doesn't really want to necessarily help Philippa Georgiou and doesn't want to tell Philippa Georgiou what's happening to her because her coming from the Terra Prime universe, they will want to go out fighting and he doesn't want that. But the computer, which is now this sentient being on Discovery, has come up with a solution and we find that out a bit later. On top of that, we see Philippa trying to get to grips with some of the food in the canteen and she can't. Tilly tries to warm up to her and try to comfort her, but Philippa's having none of that, throws her food on Philippa and then, on Tilly, and tells Tilly to fuck off. That was all before the credits started rolling. What do you think of that at the beginning, Roberto, this opening?
Well, first off, you did. I don't know if you missed this or if you just if you're waiting to reveal it, but the time person that they were talking about, the guy in the opening sequence, that the time warrior or whatever you called him in the season 1, season 2 TNG.
Yeah.
He was
a
from
time soldier.
Yeah, he's from the Kelvin timeline because they mention in there that he comes from a universe that was a variant based on a Romulan mining ship going back in time and creating the Splinter universe. I mean, I'm assuming that's
Really?
a Kelvin timeline.
I'm actually I can't believe I didn't pick up on that, but that sounds like it to me.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds just like, but still, I mean, it was a nice little nod that hey, Prime universe knows about the Kelvin timeline. Like, at least they know of its existence. I mean, it's not like they travel there and we're not going to see Chris Pine show up and all that, but they at least know that there is an incursion timeline that is the Kelvin timeline. And I don't know. They probably call it timeline 612 or something like that. I don't know.
Yep. And we still haven't got much more information on Cronenberg's character. He came across as like the cigarette smoking man, like you saw on the X-Files back in the day, but he doesn't come across as that mysterious now. He's obviously in cohorts with the Admiral, and he seems like a good guy. We find out more about him in a second. I'll bring him up. But what do you think of Cronenberg's character? We only got him at the beginning before the credits rolled, and we never saw him again. You think there's more to come from him?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind this is only part 1. Also, I mean, so I really feel like he might have more to do with what happens here. I mean, as we get more into this episode, you'll be able to see what happens. But But I feel like he's going to have more to do with this by the end of this story arc.
Fair enough. Well, after the credits finish rolling, we get some information, some expedition going on here. We have the Admiral, and he's around Saru, Michael Burnham, and a few others. And the spear data is basically gave the information to everyone, telling them that if you want to help Philippa, you have to go to this planet. It's called Danis 5 or Darius 5 or some shit like that. Danis 5, I believe. Now, Saru understands that Philippa needs help, but they're dealing with the crisis regarding the burn in the Emerald Chain. I mean, that just happened the other day, for fuck's sake. So Saru suggests that maybe we shouldn't be going on this venture to help Philippa, because we need to deal with the burn. But the Admiral intervenes, and then you find out later on, after he dismisses everyone, that when one of your crew members is drowning, they need to know that you're there to help them, and I love that, because that has been Star Trek for a long time, that even though the old saying might go that the needs of the many might outdoes the needs of the few, so often Star Trek has been about the needs of the one, and the rest of the crew helping that one person. And that happens nearly all the time in every season of Star Trek, and so I love the fact that this Admiral reminded Saru of that, and Saru appreciated that. What did you think of all of that shit?
I mean, it was a good learning moment for Saru, and I felt like it was well done. I feel like that, Saru putting duty above everything else was kind of like, but I think they handled it very well, where Saru was learning the lesson that even though, there's a duty and everything like that, you do need to think about your crew, and they need to trust you overall. And so I think that was one of the prime, I think that was one of the things that he was trying to get across. And I think it was a good learning moment for Saru, and I think it was well played, so that Saru didn't look like an idiot. Saru was doing the right thing, but then he's like, and then the Admiral's like, look, I get it. You're trying to really pull in the reins, but you got to loosen them up every now and then. Otherwise, you're going to choke them.
Yeah. And this harkens back to what you think of Starfleet, and it was so heartwarming to know that even 1,000 years in the future, and all the shit that's been going on with Starfleet recently, and all these different alliances they're losing, that they still honor some of the core values of what it means to be Starfleet. And I love it. It made me, and it just makes me warm to the Admiral just that little bit more. About yourself?
Yeah, it definitely warmed me up to the Admiral a little bit more for him showing that
He's
that
compassionate.
What?
He's compassionate.
Yeah, and he's not like super, like everyone thought he was going to be like a hard ass the whole time, and he was
militaristic.
Very militaristic, and I was hoping he wouldn't be, because I mean,
he's cautious.
But there's also the human side to this whole thing. So it was very nice to see that happen. That he loosened up a little bit, and he said, as I said, he kind of gave Saru a captain's learning moment, because Saru's a new captain. I mean, I know he's been playing the role for a while now, but he's a captain now. He's got to learn the territory and learn how to manage a crew, even though he's kind of been doing it the past 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we get Philippa in the gym now, and she's really pissed off, and she's just battering the shit out of this dummy. Wagyu, sorry, I apologize. I'm just getting intervening here with a message from the comments. Wagyu says they could jump there, drop off Mike and space Hitler in the shuttle, then jump back in 5 minutes. So you don't have the time for this angle. The angle was the weird bit. Okie dokes. Maybe I should have got to that bit later. But anyways, back to what I was saying. We have Philippa in the gym removing a regression, and then she tries to have a fight with Michael. Now, she actually tries to make Michael kill her, because she just doesn't like being in this position. She doesn't want to, dissolve. She wants to die fighting. And this is one of the bits where I saw genuine fear in Philippa's eyes, because Michael tells her, listen, you won't get that here. If anything, they'll study you. You'll end up being some sort of lab rat for us, and we'll try and figure out how to help you, and you'll be studied. And as long as we can keep you alive, we'll keep, you will remain alive. And that thought terrified her. You see it in her face. It was so good. I fucking loved it, man. I mean, when you're coming from the universe she comes from, that must be the most terrifying thing ever.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely a good moment when
you're going, please.
Oh, that was definitely a moment right there where she definitely was like, oh shit, she's right. Like.
And I really hope people, when they saw that scene, they really appreciated how terrifying that must have been for Philippa. Anything would be better than being that, you know what I mean? Being some sort of fucking test subject and being experimented on and being kept alive when she wants to be dead. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The Terran humans, by the way, they kind of remind me of Klingons without honor.
Yeah. I mean, they really do. Like, I was actually thinking that exact same thing. I'm like, God, they're really portraying them like Klingons, but human. And, for Mirror Universe episodes, as you probably know, are my favorite episodes. I mean, with DS9, with even the original series, and now with Discovery, even like the 4-part mirror timeline stuff in season 1. All that was my favorite stuff from season 1. I love the Mirror Universe stuff. It's always been some of my favorite stuff that Star Trek has ever done, because seeing the characters you know and love being complete assholes, and they're just they're not the same people that you want to love, but you want to love them. And it's just like, and you can play with it so many different ways, like they did in DS9, and now they're doing here in Discovery. I mean, the only thing that this episode I was not super on board with was just the fact that they went back in time and they went to a time previous, like, before Georgiou actually transferred over.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I understand why they did it and why they had to do that, but I'm just, so go ahead.
No problem. Now, sorry, let me just quickly get to my notes. So, Philippa also gets given a bracelet. Remember the bracelet? We don't see it too much, but it gets. Now, all I know is that as long as it's green, she's good. But when it's red, I believe she's dead. And that's all we need to know about that bracelet. But it's there to obviously help her with her current condition of time travelitis or whatever the fuck she's got. Yeah, so, right. Now, sorry, here we go here. Okay, so Adira, now she's stressed out of her fucking face. She's working on this algorithm, and she's obviously missing a lot of shit because Stamets comes along and basically tells her, "Here we go. This is what you didn't do." And, beep, beep, boop. And she thought she did it, but obviously she's so stressed regarding her situation with Gray that she's not able to work properly, and she hasn't spoken to Gray in a couple of weeks now, and it's just becoming a bit overwhelming for her. And Stamets does give her a nice little pep talk, and then they get some information from the algorithm. Now, after that, we get to see Saru and Booker having a chat. Booker is, he's, after seeing what Starfleet, especially Discovery, has done in recent weeks with him around, he's thoroughly impressed by them. He's become a believer in Starfleet. He's a true believer, and he wants to be part of it. Not necessarily a member of Starfleet, but he definitely wants to help alongside them. And so we'll get to that in a sec. And sorry, I do apologize. I just lost my train of thought there. And he tells Booker, Booker does give Saru some information regarding the Emerald Chain, something to do with training and shit like that. But
military exercises.
Military exercises. But Saru already told him that we already know this shit. But at the same time, he does appreciate the fact that Booker did come to him with this information. So there might be obviously some more to that. But honestly, after this little exchange, nothing came from that from the rest of this episode, obviously, because we follow something else. But these two exchanges, Adira and Stamets, Saru, Booker, what do you think?
It was okay. I mean, it was a little forgettable. I mean, they got a lot more. I feel like they got a lot more last season, but I think they're kind of swinging the pendulum the opposite way, where Stamets is becoming a little too nice. Like I get that he considers her like a dog, and I know I'm
You're
probably,
right, actually.
I mean, I feel like I feel like they're swinging that pendulum the opposite way too much. So I do like Stanitz, and I kind of like the fact that he's loosening up a little bit. He's not getting so much of his Shatner on, but yeah, I really feel like Stanitz is becoming a little bit too nice.
And Booker being a believer of Starfleet and sucking up to Saru.
I feel like that's, I don't want to say not believable, but I feel like it's a little too soon, in my opinion. I don't know how to explain it. Like I I feel like he's coming on board a little too fast with the whole Starfleet thing. And I mean, maybe that's just a writing preference. I mean, he obviously sees the benefits of Starfleet and what they're doing and everything like that. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't complain too much. But at the same time, it's almost like, okay, well, now all of a sudden you're on board with Starfleet and what it is. And I don't know, it just seems like a little too quickly. But
No. I disagree. I think he's been around Michael long enough, probably heard plenty of shit about Starfleet from them, and he's had a few interactions with Starfleet now. They saved his life, you know,
and you're right.
then
I mean, as I said, I might be off on that one. I'm not 100% committed on, it be that. But it just felt when it was happening in the episode, I felt, to me, that my first inkling was like, wow, that was quick. He turned around really quick.
Well, let's have a quick look at what Wagu's been saying. So, first of all, the first thing he says, I prefer the show in the mirror universe. Really, does any plots make more sense? The second half of the episode was pretty enjoyable. In that Adira scene, when they get a result from the algorithm, Stamets says, "Go find Saru," and they forget about comms, badges, personal transporters. Good point. Excellent point, Wagyu. Excellent point. I never thought. They could have had him there. They could have had him there in a second. I want to quickly also add, by the way, that last week when we spoke about, when we were talking Discovery, I said that one of the problems with Discovery is that they need episodes which are a bit more bottled, a bit more self-contained, and just dealing with some sort of space anomaly or some sort of crazy shit, and this episode was kind of like that. Obviously, the second half of this episode was definitely like that because it felt different. It didn't feel, it didn't feel like the overall story arc, and that's why one of the reasons why I enjoyed this episode so much. It needed to be different. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Mirror Universe episodes only because they kind of have that bottle feel to it, like it's but there's always like ramifications. Like they always go big with the Mirror Universe stuff. Like right now, I mean, like we're dealing with the Empress. Like normally in like DS9 and stuff like that, we're only dealing, and with Enterprise and with the original series, we're only dealing with like the crews and stuff like that of the Mirror Universe. But like we are dealing with the head of the Terran Empire right now in these episodes. So that's why I think it's really, I think that this is going to be a pretty crazy two-parter in the Mirror Universe.
Well, I never really, I watched this episode twice, and it was only in the second time of watching this episode that I really appreciate this next bit. Now, before Philippa goes off to find her cure, she gets a send off from Saru and Tilly. I mean, she gets a hug from Tilly after throwing her dinner on Tilly's chest. Tilly still, is compassionate enough to understand what Philippa's going through and doesn't take it personally, and still hugs her. And you could see these real acts of affection and kindness has taken its toll on Philippa, and you can see she's been affected by it. I mean, she's overwhelmed by it. What do you think?
I honestly didn't like that. I feel like not the fact that that feels like something Tilly would do. The fact that Georgiou was almost smiling when Tilly did it was that's where I got off, and I'm off board, and I'm like,
I don't think she was smiling at all. I don't think she was smiling at all.
no,
I
she
think
had like a little
she was
smirk. No,
she was
she had like a
confused.
little
She was
what?
confused. I think she was confused, and you saw her with her hands. She didn't know what to do with her hands, and then she eventually just hugged her. And it's not just that. Even Saru like gave her a nice send off. Shook her hand and stuff, and said to her that regardless of how you feel, I hope you get what you need to get to when you go down there. But he also said that I might not see you again. This was a sense of closure for these two regarding Philippa, and it made sense. It made sense when watching it again. Do you kind of get that? No.
No, I
They,
feel like
they were saying goodbye to her. They weren't expecting her to come back.
they weren't expecting her to come back, but I feel like that they're brewing character growth at this point. They're not trying. I'm trying to think of how to say it. They're not just like trying to they're trying to change change this empress into a, like, at the end of these episodes, the empress is going to be changed, and I feel like whether she stays in the past, which I'm still not convinced it's the actual past, or if it's like whatever that godlike being that sent her through the door did. I'm not sure whether it's I'm pretty sure she's either going to come back a changed person, or she's going to stay and be killed or something. I don't know. I don't feel like it's they're brewing a character change in her, and I don't think she's staying there, but I feel like she's going to find whatever closure she needs there. And then like once she lets go of the Terran Empire, then she's going to, come back or whatever, come back through the door, and she'll be cured magically because she's let go of the old, like the old whatever.
Fair enough. Well,
I just see that's how this is going, and I hope I'm wrong because I don't want it to go that way, but I think that's how it's going to go.
Now we're going to talk about one more thing which happens before it becomes the Philippa show, and this thing is the algorithm being decoded. Now we find a message from from the Kelpian species, Saru's species. It's over 100 years old. It came from a Starfleet vessel. So apparently a Starfleet vessel went to investigate this, but nothing has come from that Starfleet vessel that went to investigate this message. Nothing's ever been heard from it. Now this species is suffering some sort of radiation. We see one of the Kelpian beings having something on their head over here and shit. It was a bit weird. Obviously, Saru, being a Kelpian himself, is he's intrigued. He seems quite emotional about it, and he wants to get further information on it. So he sends his crew to find out more information, and regarding reporting it to the Admiral, well, he decides to hold back until they get more information to report to the Admiral. And I believe Saru is sincere on that, and so that's where we leave with that. So before we get to the Philippa show, what do you think of that little scene?
I thought it was good. I mean, officers working together, and then them putting the Kelpie. I was confused at first, but I think I got it now. Like, okay, so the starship, there was a Federation starship on the way to investigate the distress call that the Kelpians left. So, that's I was a little confused on that, but I think I got it, like, upon hearing it again from you. Because I was confused. I'm like, okay, so is it a Kelpian ship? Is it a Federation ship with just the Kelpian?
No, I believe they got the distress call from the Federation ship, but it was a distress call they went to investigate, and so they already had the information. Regarding the 5% recovery, I forgot to mention that, but there was a 0% recovery if she stayed on the Discovery, and there's a 5% recovery. She goes to this Danis planet, and I guess that's 5% more than she's ever going to get, and it turns out to be the right thing actually. Ratio, but some sorts. He thinks the red dots are not radiation burns, but some further transmission beyond Vaharia. Oh yeah, that's their sort of heaven, isn't it? The Kelpian heaven, Vaharai. Well, That's still speculation, my friend. But now we are on to the Philippa and Mike show. Well, mainly the Philippa show. So Philippa and Michael have landed on this planet, and it's just a snowy planet, quite rocky as well. But it's been a while since we've been on a snow planet. And then as they're walking along, they realize that the place where the computer has told them to go to is where they're at, but they see nothing. And then they turn around, and there's this sort of like Winston Churchill looking character, bowler hat, cigar, coat. But he's an American but he's got an American accent. He seems like a nice guy, but he also seems to be a bit of a mysterious and maybe not, maybe a character you have to be very wary of. You don't know what his intentions are, but this mysterious entity, this person, tells Philippa that you need to go through this door. And Philippa is really can't understand what the fuck's going on, and she sees that this newspaper this old man's reading is basically says that she'll be dead, and this newspaper is from tomorrow, so she's got 1 day to live, so she has to go through that fucking door, because if she doesn't, then she's dead. But what is all of this about? She is like this guy. Now I'm gonna move on a little bit, and I will get back to you, Roberto. The computer did say, that this was her chance of living. It wasn't necessarily a cure. It was her chance of living.
That was stated very clearly that this was her chance. This was her chance.
And the computer, being this sentient being now, knows about this shit. Is the computer linked with this guy? And by the way, this guy's name is Carl, I believe. So this person, who's obviously very mysterious, could be a Q, a lot of people are saying. What the fuck is he? What relationship does he have with the computer? How does the computer know that he fucking is there? And this fucking door and shit. This felt like old school Star Trek, by the way. This felt like, original series Star Trek. This whole thing, superhuman alien mysteriousness, all that tricks and puzzles and shit like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if this character, maybe. I mean, I'm not a original series aficionado, but I would not be surprised if this character was like a throwback to the original series in some way. Like either it's somebody's already figured it out, or or it'll just be revealed later. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those original series, like godlike creatures that is just around the universe. And honestly, it's good to see, because it's like they happen in the original series. They gotta be around. If they're godlike creatures like they are, like they have to be around. Like this could be just an older version of one of those, those sentient beings.
But this is so bizarre. Like, is this person always got a doorway open? I mean, was this person always here for Philippa's particular scenario? I mean, would this person be there if Philippa wasn't in this scenario? And how does the computer know that this is the place to go to? I mean, there's so many things that need to be answered.
I think the computer knows, because it's the sphere data, and it's been around for what, 10,000, 100,000 years. I don't remember, but I think that's why it knows that. I don't think it's like linked in any way. At least I don't think it's linked in any way to the actual sphere data. Like it's not like its brother or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand, but this is something that obviously right now is speculation city regarding this dude, this Carl dude. Very unusual character, unusual way he appeared, having a chair and a table, smoking a cigar, all of that. The bowler hat. There is something in his getup that means something to all of this, and obviously the door as well. He comes with a door, very bizarre. But you know what? Philippa, being the brave woman that she is, takes her chance. And I'll be honest with you, I thought fuck all was gonna happen when she walked through that door. She was just gonna walk through a fucking door that led to nowhere, led back to the snow again. It wasn't gonna lead her anywhere. I just thought it was just some bullshit and there was more to it. But no, she ends up back in the Terra universe in the past before her attempted assassination. But this time, yeah, she is well aware of the situation and is able to handle it a lot better. And so she comes back into the past, and Philippa is a little bit perplexed. And she's trying to realize what period she's in. You know, she questions Captain Tilly now, the evil Captain Tilly of the Terra universe. And she figures out that Lorca's still alive and he's still in this universe. And she's plotting with Michael to kill her. And now she knows how the timeline's going to pan out. She feels she can change things. So she's not only back in the past, she's back in the past with knowledge. So when this revelation happened of her walking through the door up to the point of her talking to Tilly, what do you think?
I thought it was great. I mean, I was excited because at that point I realized that we were going to be getting a Mirror Universe episode. Well, I figured 2 parts because it's a 2-parter. So, I mean, as I said, I'm always a proponent of the Mirror Universe, but yeah.
Well, we left Discovery behind. We were not going back. There was no more going back to Discovery. We were here now, and we're following Philippa now. You know, Philippa, who's been in our universe, theoretically speaking, for a couple of years now. Yeah. But you know, Lorca was also in our universe and he didn't change for shit. He was always hiding his true intentions. But Philippa seems to might have changed a little bit. We go to the Discovery's version, the Prime Discovery Prime Terra Prime version of 10 Forward, whatever the name of that bar is. And you remember the robot girl in season 2 who ended up having to get blown out of an airlock?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the girl, I believe, who had the apple on her head when what's-his-face threw the knife.
I'd have to look. I don't know.
That is her because I looked at other reviews and that was her.
Oh. Like, was that her version? Was that the version of her character, or was she just in the scene because
that was her Terra Prime version? But remember, she was human in the first place. You know, she became robotic and shit like that. And obviously, we see Detmer without the fucking facial scars and shit like that, which is interesting because, yeah, I like the way they reversed it because it's terrible how scars are always looked to make someone look more evil. And it's good that it's reversed, that this time the evil person has no scars and the person who's good does. And that's a good way of reversing that. I like that. Now we finally get to meet evil Michael, the Terra version of Michael. She comes along, black lipstick, short hair. You know, she's definitely not the Michael Burnham we know, that's for sure. Compassion, there's not an ounce of it in this particular person. She's fucking crazy. And she tries to impress Philippa, tells her how she came across these artists and they do spectacular art. And so Michael blinded them and then actually killed them anyway. So the art that they had created goes up in value. Like, what the fuck? It's absolutely crazy. We see his Kelpian, who are slaves in this universe, spill a drink and he gets turned into fucking, he spills a drink on one of the Earth people and he gets thrown to the butchers for his insubordination. And later on, Saru, offering Michael a drink, also gets thrown to the butchers. But the compassionate Philippa Georgiou saves him and makes him his own personal assistant. What do you think of all of that?
Again, it's building for the Georgiou character redemption. Not even redemption, just her reversal.
Character arc. It's an arc.
I mean, I think, as I said, she took Saru in. I mean, there's going to be other things we get to later. So they're building up. I think, as I said, in the end, what's going to happen is Georgiou is going to accept the fact that she is not the Prime Universe Empress anymore, and she, it is now a part of, the Prime timeline, whatever. So, I mean, it's just I kind of saw it coming, especially when she started looking, like when Michael wanted to kill Saru, and then well, Taryn Michael wanted to kill Saru, and then you saw the look on Georgiou's face, and just the way she was treating Saru in the quarters and stuff. I saw this coming from a mile away. Not that it's bad. Not that I'm not saying it's bad because you saw it, but
I have to.
Go ahead.
I have to say this before I forget. I think the difference between Philippa and Lorca, both of them were in the original Earth universe, is that Lorca always pretended to be somebody else. So he was always in the mindset that he was incognito, Whilst Philippa, everyone knew that she was from the Terra universe. Everyone knew.
Which really, the Terra universe was supposed to be a big secret, like at least in the first 2 seasons. But it's like they were all pretty blatant about it.
Yeah. So in that way, she was able to be herself and maybe take in some of how this Earth is. This universe is, which is interesting when I think of it like that. So we have Philippa now questioning. Oh, actually, let's have a listen to what Wuku has to say. Mr. No response was throwing the apple too. I thought it was cool that they brought in the actress for that dumb security chief who randomly picked a fight with the
tardigrade.
Yeah, is that how you say it? And died.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I think he's right. The security chief who wasn't that the lady, the security chief under Lorca in season 1. She wasn't she technically from the Prime universe, or was she just? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But yeah, she picked a fight with the tardigrade in the first season, and then got eaten, or messed up.
I vaguely remember. Sorry. Yeah, it just goes to show you, unfortunately, how bad Discovery was at the beginning of its birth when it doesn't leave you with memorable episodes. Like the memorable ones are the memorable ones are the Harry Mudd episodes and the Mirror Universe episodes. The earlier episodes, with the fucking slug alien and shit with the spores. Fuck all that. It was bollocks. It was absolutely bollocks. Anyways, Philippa is now questioning Saru because Saru is now her manservant. He's pampering her, and she wants to find out more information about Michael because she knows Michael is trying to assassinate her. Saru obviously gives her some more information, and Philippa basically tells her, "You're going to be my eyes and ears." And Saru, he's fearing for his life, but totally brainwashed by the society that he's living in as being a subhuman. Well, I say subhuman, you know what I mean, like a person of
species.
Yes, there you go. So as Philippa prepares for this ceremony she's about to go to, we then follow her out of her room in through the corridors, and we see a fight between is it Kimo? I really wish I got a name.
I'm still having a hard time remembering these.
Damn, I'm really upset. Wagyu, what the hell's the black lady's name? I think it's Kimo, and the Asian guy's name as well. I need to know their names.
I did, however, I did feel like I got more character development out of the Prime timeline of these two characters that were fighting in this one fight than I have like almost all season of those two characters in the Prime universe. Like I feel like the black lady, I think, is she Helm? No, she's not Helm.
Her name is Kimo or Kamo or something like that.
Well, we'll call her Kamo. So, Kimo or Kamo, I mean, I feel like besides a little bit of bridge character, like I feel like I got more out of the Terran
in that fight. Yeah, we were told by Philippa and Mike, they make a bet on that fight because these two guys are having a fight over who's going to be the new security chief. And the reason why Philippa betted on Kimo is that he said that she is loyal while he's just being flash, and her loyalty will win over his flashness every day of the week. And you saw that she's loyal to Philippa. As long as Philippa remains to the standards of what it means to be the Terra Empress, she'll be loyal to that. Wagyu says, I think she's realizing she prefers being around a normal crew rather than their mirror counterparts. I think she's gotten used to not having to look over her shoulder all the fucking
Yeah,
time.
that was one thing that I was like, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
for
I
sure.
feel like that I mean that'd be relieving, like to be able to just not look over your shoulder all day every day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like a planet full of Sith Lords.
Yeah.
Um, so we then follow Philippa towards her ceremony, and we get a lovely ceremony. And you know what? This you gotta give credits to props to the director, because this was a great little routine they created for. Yeah, it's corny and cheesy, but to get these people to pull off something which was reasonably well choreographed, it was a good dance routine. And this was just basically this was narrated by Stamets, and it was basically to congratulate and to pander
Yeah.
to Emperor Georgiou about her being so successful and bringing peace to the universe by killing everyone. Um, it was a funny little moment. I think Stamets was having a great time, but this is where things are changing in motion. Because if you remember, when we saw Stamets in the Mirror Universe in season 1, he was alive, but he tries to take Emperor Georgiou's life, and he dies trying to do that. He tries to assassinate her, and you can see Michael Burnham sitting in the front row, not happy about this at all. She's so full of shit, Michael Burnham. This Michael Burnham, this Mirror Universe Michael Burnham, I don't like her. I like the Michael Burnham in our universe. I like her. I champion her. But this one, I don't like, because she's so horrible.
I actually like the Mirror Universe Michael better than the Prime Universe Michael.
But anyways, I like the way Philippa was doing her monologue, and she just killed Stamets there and then. And now Stamets is dead. Stamets is dead. He's not going to be in. He should have been alive in the future, because we saw him in the season 1 timeline, and this is before that. So he's gone. And before I get to the end of this episode,
if this is actually happening and it's not some like fever dream brought on by this omnipotent entity.
Okay, so the name of the girl is Owuskan. Owuskan? Okay, I don't know where I got chemo. Yes,
why Wagyu calls her Mrs. T.
Mrs. T. No, I wouldn't go there. But us Brits, we love to abbreviate names. Yeah, even if you don't want to have your name abbreviated, it'll get abbreviated, because that's how our Brits do. So we need to abbreviate those names. So it's either O, Woos, or Kun.
Well, I think Kun sounds more like something you would say.
Okay. Okay, Owus, maybe. Owus, I can go with. That's pretty much an abbreviation. Owus. So, regarding Stamets being killed off, what do you think? Bob?
What? I'm sorry.
Stamets being killed off.
As I said, I still question on whether or not this is actually happening in the Mirror Universe, if it's like a fever dream that this alien entity is making. But if this is the Prime, if this is actually happening in the Terran Universe, I mean, it's fine. Like, people get killed off in the Terran Universe like all the time.
I'm going with it. Plus, the Terra Universe is not the Prime Universe, so they can fuck with it as much as they want, in my opinion.
That's always one of the greatest things in DS9 about it. I mean, they killed off like Grom, Quark, Nog. I mean, they killed all those people. Like, I mean, Cisco's doppelganger got killed off. Just tons of people got killed off on the Mirror Universe, and that's kind of the fun of it, is that you can kind of do that.
Yeah, it's also what I liked about the Flash back in the day. Like, we need some crazy ass villain with unusual superpowers to make sense in this universe. Let's get them from Earth 2 or Earth 3 or I mean, that's what they did, and they're kind of doing this with this. You want some wackiness and bizarreness, and maybe kill off a few recognized faces without it costing us without it being a permanent problem. Yep, we could do it in the Prime Universe. Fucking love it.
Terran Universe.
Yes, the Terra Universe. My apologize. Her first name seems to be Joanne. That's easier. Okay. First, okay, Joanne. I can go with that. And you know what? If her name's Joanne, then she's now Joe. All right. So we get we now know that the assassination attempt has failed. Philippa can't let this go on any further, and she gets people still loyal to her, like Tilly and Joe, to corner off Michael Burnham. Now, this is where Michael, evil Michael, that is, really starts challenging her inner Joker, because she just starts putting on this really bizarre craziness, and she gets really pissed off with Philippa. Philippa's like telling her, "Oh, I'll give you a chance. Just tell me what's going on here." And Michael Burnham saying, "What the fuck? Giving me a chance? Who the hell are you? You're weak," and all this sort of shit. And Philippa really has to kill her, but doesn't. And like she did earlier on with our Michael, she almost kills her with the blade, but this time she does get into her neck a little bit and draws blood. Goes to show how skilled she is with a knife or a sword. And she then tells Tilly to take her away and to put her in shackles. Now, I'm not sure if there was, I'm not shackles, but to torture her and shit in those torture chambers. Now, I'm not sure if we saw doubt in the faces of Tilly and Joe, but there was definitely some expressions, whether it was doubt or uncertainty.
There was
or
definitely uncertainty. Is the feeling I got.
Yeah.
I think
So
Tilly's going to kill Georgiou and become Empress Tilly.
and that is how the episode ended. Now I want to go on a little bit more, but first of all, what do you think of that moment of Michael Burnham, aka the Joker?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was a great Terran. Like it was a great Terran. You know, I greet every morning with death type thing. Like, I mean, like it was fine. I didn't mind it that much. I don't see why it was that big of a deal that Georgiou spared Michael. Well, at least sent her to the agonizer. I mean, I guess it's high treason, so she should have automatically died. But but I mean, I don't see why. Like she basically said, I don't want to make, no, I'm not going to kill you right now. That's too slow. That kind of seems like something that the Empress would do. Maybe, I don't know. So I mean,
torturing people, but but this was more of a law thing. So it was like, okay, you committed treason. There's no torturing for you. We're not trying to extract information. You should be dead. You know what I mean? But
and I mean,
anyway, sorry, go on.
Oh no, that was it. I mean, did you want to get to what Wagyu said?
Yeah, I want to get to what Gu said. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that, but I didn't know what the fuck it was all about. When she was given this son, like on a ceremony, and she opens up the doors, and there's that thing you think Thor is going to harness the power to make his new fucking hammer with, and she stands in front of it, and the sun is for a crown and shit. Remember?
Well, but that's the new Terran capital ship that was in those episodes from season 1. I mean,
I fucking don't know.
Yeah, those that was the Terran flagship, which is this big. It's basically the Terran Empire's equivalent of the Superstar Destroyer. Like it's just that huge thing, but there's like a sun in the middle of it. That's remember how Lorca fell out or was falling into it, and then he like dissolved and stuff like that, falling into it, and when he died. So
yeah, well, yeah, she did actually say that. Waku, thanks for bringing this up, because I'm glad you reminded me, because at the very end of this episode, she did say that now the future is uncertain for both of us, because up to a particular point, she knew how things were going to play out and she was prepared for it. But now, with things being changed and altered by her intervening and stopping those things from happening, now things are going to happen differently. And this is going to be interesting. I think she wants, for some reason, she's obsessed with Michael and with both ours and this one, and she wants to make this crazy version of her into a more honorable person. There's nothing about this Terra Michael that will ever be honorable. These people are evil to the fucking core. So I don't know where she's going with that. Also, I was hoping to see Jason Isaacs, Captain Lorca, in this episode. We heard his name mentioned several times, and I really hope next episode we get to see him. It was unusual with this episode how once Philippa walked through that door, we were with her for the rest of the show, and we followed it. And I loved that. I fucking
I did. I
loved
liked
that.
it too.
Now, did you like the fact that you didn't know what it was going to be like this? Did it make the episode better for you?
I did actually, yeah. Going in, like, if I would have known it was a Terran Universe episode, I would have been excited. But like the shock of, like, you know, all of a sudden her walking through the door and it's like we're in the Terran Universe, I was like, oh shit, this is a Terran episode.
Now, me and you, we have debated on many occasions about regarding spoilers and not knowing certain things and going in blind. Now, you went in blind in this. You had no fucking idea this was going to happen. I had no fucking idea this was happening. But you love your fucking spoilers. You love fucking knowing shit. Not knowing shit makes things better. And you've experienced it. So don't fucking do spoilers anymore.
I mean, I don't care about spoilers. Like, I still would have been I would have still been as excited. Like, I would have been excited for the episode if I knew it was Terran Universe. But, like, you know, you go into stuff like, oh, here we go, Ginger Greeks in the chat.
Oh, what's this bastard want? I just woke up and there's a bunch of shit dumped on us by Disney for Star Wars. No need to talk about it on here after the show. All right, my son. And what's Wagyu saying? Yeah, I hope Mirror Lorca shows up in part 2. I also wonder what happened to normal Lorca. We never saw him, right? Well, I don't think we'll. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. But right now, I want to focus on this one because for me personally, I've always was upset to find out that this unusual Starfleet captain was somebody from the from an alternative dimension. I wish he wasn't. I wish he was still Starfleet captain. Now, I know Saru's doing a great job. I wouldn't want to replace him from this particular instance. But if I could go back in time and make some changes to the writing, I wouldn't have changed Saru. Sorry, I wouldn't have changed Lorca at all. I would have still made him the sort of captain he is now, a totally different ethical captain to all the previous captains. You know, if everyone, all the other previous captains were liberals, this guy would be a conservative. If they were left, this guy was right. He was totally different, and Star Trek would have been better off for it. But who knows? Maybe they're going to try and retcon that with this Lorca if we do get Jason Isaacs back, because Jason Isaacs is a fucking brilliant actor, and he's a Brit like me. And do you think we'll get him back next week, Roberto?
I hope so. I like Lorca's character. I mean, I like his mirror universe. It'd be interesting to see his Prime universe counterpart in the mirror universe, but at the same time, you know, it would be interesting to see what happens.
This is interesting as well, because even though this is going back in time in the Terra Prime universe, you have to understand that Lorca was in our timeline. So if she affects shit in this timeline, will that affect our timeline? If Lorca doesn't go to Earth, into our I keep saying Earth, into our universe, how does that affect, like, there's a ripple effect to all of this.
Yeah, and I also feel like now that she's changing, if this is the real Terran universe, I feel like if she's making timeline changes, that now there's a Terran Prime universe and a the Georgiou universe, or whatever you want to call it. Like, there's a splinter there. I mean, if you get into the multiverse theory, I mean, at that point, yeah, it's just like Nero going back in time and Star Trek Kelvin timeline, made the Kelvin timeline. So now you've got, if this is actually happening, you've got Georgiou going back in time, and now we've got the Prime Terran Empire timeline, or the Mirror Universe timeline, and then the Georgiou mirror timeline, which splinters off. So, I mean, yeah, if you get into multiverse, it's just, I'd rather simplify it because it's a freaking TV show. I don't think any of the things that they are doing is affecting the Terran Empire Prime timeline.
what did you think of the old salutes? Because any higher, and we're getting into Nazi territory. It's like, could you not think of something else? Like, wouldn't just like one arm across the chest like that just be better than getting close to Nazi salute territory?
I think they're just trying to honor the
Idea of fascists.
Well, I think they're just trying to honor the original series episode with the Mirror Universe, because they did the same thing in those episodes. They didn't
I
do
vaguely remember.
Huh?
I vaguely remember. I'm getting old.
They did do it just like that in the Mirror episode in the original series. So, and I think also in Enterprise. So, I mean, they're trying to honor the source, the source material of this timeline.
I think because we're in a way more woke society is more than ever nowadays. You can't help but pick up on these things, maybe more than you would have done in the past. So continuing here, we are at the end of this episode now. So plus there's a conundrum on them using her for Section 31. Yeah, we know. Yeah, for sure. And I that is probably where I feel the second episode is going to come into play regarding it leading to that, because it's one of the best things about a show being good is it being unpredictable. And when you predict things too much, it can make the show shit, because you kind of know where it's leading you. Now, even though we know Section 31 does play a part, I have no idea what the fuck's going to be going on in the next episode. I have no idea. Is Lorca going to come back? Is she going to somehow redeem Burnham? Now we got some snippets from the trailer, but even then, I don't know what to make of it. We see maybe possibly our Michael Burnham, but I believe the Michael Burnham I saw in that trailer has short hair, so it's likely still to be Terra Prime Michael Burnham.
I would assume so.
Just without the lipstick. It's
it all got fried off in the agonizer.
Well, as I said, we just don't know what direction we're going to be going next week, and I find that
talking about the Section 31 show that has been rumored for.
But how does that lead into that? I mean, like, how do you how do you do all of that in the space of fucking 40 minutes? I mean,
you're just saying that if Georgiou dies or stays in the Terran universe or the Mirror universe, that they can't use her for the Section 31 show, which I mean makes sense, but I mean I don't care about that.
I don't think look, don't get me wrong. Usually how it goes is if certain characters get given dedicated episodes, they could be the people on who end up dying in an episode to give it more impact, and that's a possibility with Philippa, regarding the fact that she's also dying when it came to the story arc of this season. But with the rumors of her being involved in the Section 31 show, I can't see that. If she's involved in the Section 31 show, then she can't die.
Show.
Yeah, I know. It's late. It's almost 1:45 in the morning. So if she's involved in that, I don't see her dying. But at the same time, it's like, what? She just does another time travel trip, and obviously, Mr. Bowler Hat Man has to come into play next week as well.
Honestly, I don't want him to come into. I don't want him to come into play. Like, if we see him again, that's fine. But I don't want him to come in and be like, the moral of the story is.
Not the moral of the story, but this guy is something else.
I think sometimes you kind of need to leave those enigmas alone. Like, you need to let them be enigmas of the universe. Like Q, one of the problems I had with Q later on was that they started to explain the continuum too much.
I love that. What are you on about? I love that.
I felt like it was a misstep to start explaining, because then you're like, oh, this is how your minds can understand the Q continuum, and it's like
that. Making it into a fucking American Civil War shit, or whatever the fuck they did in Voyager, was a stupid way of portraying it. But I still like the fact that they delved into the Q continuum. I think Voyager. I know we're going on a massive tangent here, but I think Voyager's portrayal of the Q was actually a lot better than what some of the stuff I that you see on TJ, but I appreciate what they did with Voyager because they delved into it. These beings have been part of Star Trek for decades, and they made sure that they gave it more depth, and I like that. But regarding this dude, people will want questions to be answered regarding this dude. And at some point, we need to come up with. I hope at one point we do get some answers to it because this is fucking. This dude, what the fuck is he? As soon as I saw him, I thought, shit, Speculation City, here we come. Anyways, I don't think I've got much more to say on this. What about yourself?
Nope. I really enjoy. You know me. I enjoy a good Mirror Universe episode. I thought this one was pretty good. Not the best, but still like really good, high up there. And I like that with this, we got a lot of time with Georgiou because one of my complaints about this season is that it's been the Michael Burnham show. And although Michael Burnham's been in this episode, she's like last episode, she doesn't feel like the focal point of the episode. It feels more like it's Georgiou's episode and there's a Michael Burnham there.
No, but I do think Michael Burnham is still pivotal to the episode, regardless of not being the focal point. The fact that she didn't get killed off, her evil version, and I just like, as I said earlier, you could. This episode was also trying to show that Philippa has changed, and you could see it. You could see Philippa has changed. We were actually rooting for her to still be this new Philippa and not go back to what she used to be. And that was interesting as well, as I said earlier, because obviously Lorca didn't change when he was in our universe. He was still a conniving bastard, but like, as I said earlier, he was incognito. But he was incognito as well. So it's good.
They even said that Lorca of the Prime universe was a little brazen as well. So you can imagine his Terran universe counterpart was probably worse.
Now, from my experiences, I'm not sure if someone like Philippa could ever change. I mean, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and Michelle Yeoh is no old dog, but she's no spring chicken either. And for her to change in such dramatic ways, I mean, I think personally, the moment she got back to her universe, she should have thrown a fucking party for herself and thought, yeah, I'm back, baby. Now arrest Michael and kill her. Instantly. Instantly. No, I mean,
that would have been a great Mirror Universe like moment. Like Georgiou just gets right back into it. She gets right back in the swing of things. She cooks Saru and then kills Michael Burnham. I mean, that would have been a very Mirror Universe episode thing.
Yeah, very much so. But it kind of showed you also that the fact that she had that little interaction with Saru before she left, and then obviously seeing that the Mirror Universe version of him, she wanted to help him. She's been infected by us. She's been infected by love, and love is going to save the day.
She's been infected by the primes.
Fair enough. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've spoken and stretched this shit out long enough. We've been in for about an hour. Just over an hour. Great episode once again. We're going to be back tomorrow around about this time, I believe. Is that right, Roberto?
Yeah, right around. Yeah.
Talking Mandalorian.
Talking Baby Yoda show. Oh, wait.
The baby. Yeah, Mando and the kid. And they're going to be on tomorrow. Oh, sorry. We're going to be on tomorrow talking that episode. We're going to be on around about this time. Don't forget to like and subscribe this stuff. We're a small little channel, but help us be part of our community. And regarding community, we have a Discord and a Facebook. Look at the logo here for Nerd Nation. Other people also call themselves Nerd Nation. So to make sure people know who we are, if you see our logo on Discords and on Facebook as Nerd Nation, that's us. Sign up to us. Be part of our community. Help us grow. Maybe you can join us in the chat one day. That'll be fun. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Live long.